Okay, so I ended the last video, I ended the last video going over this chart, but I feel like I went a little bit too quick. So I'm going to redo it, go a little bit slower. So if you feel like you got that down, that's fine. You don't have to watch this. But if you feel like I rushed through it and you need a little bit more explanation, that's what I'm going to do in this video. So to start with, you've got your isotope listed here. Here's another one. Now this is one way to write it. Remember there's three different ways. I could also write this with P, and then the mass number goes in the top left, and then the charge goes right here. So both of these are the same way of writing this isotope. So phosphorus is the element, that's the symbol. 31 is the mass number, this is the charge. So I'll actually, as long as I'm on this one, we got the charge is -3. Let's just get what we can here. The mass number is 31. Now, the element phosphorus, you got to look that up on the periodic table. If you look it up, it's number 15 on the periodic table. Now, the atomic number and the number of protons are always the same. So if you want to write this on your paper, put a line and say same. So that means if I have 15 for the atomic number, that means I have 15 protons. That'll never be different. So now that we got the protons and atomic number, the next thing we're going to do, let me switch, there you go, my pen's back. Now we got to figure out the number of neutrons. So the equation looks like this. Neutrons plus protons equals mass number. So what plus 15 equals 31? Or basically that's asking 31 minus 15 is 16. So that means that we have 16 neutrons. Now the electrons tends to be the trickiest one here. So what this means, -3, that means we have 3 more electrons. So we have more electrons than protons. How many more? We have 3 more. So that means if I have more electrons, well, I look, okay, if I have 15 protons and I have 3 more electrons, 15 plus 3 is 18. Always check. If your charge is negative, you better have more electrons. Now, the reason I tell you to double check this, because it seems obvious, you're like, oh, well, okay, this is easy, is because so many students will just say, okay, I have 15 protons, -3, 15 minus 3 is 12. Now, if you go back and double check, let's say you put a 12. You're like, okay, my charge is negative. I have 12 electrons, 15 protons. And you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. More protons means it should be positive. So if you do that, you know it's wrong. So always double check. Okay, I've got more electrons, negative, it's good. Let's actually go up and do the top one. This can also be written as C12 like that. Now there's nothing up here, so there's no charge. So 0 charge. We've got a mass number of 12. If we look up, the mass number of 12 came from right there. If we look up C on the periodic table, it is number 6. That means it has 6 protons. Now, what plus 6 equals 12? The answer is 6. Okay, so the last one, we're going to do electrons here. Now, notice the charge is 0 for this one. That means the electrons is equal to the protons. The electrons and protons fully cancel each other out. So if I have 6 negatives, that means I also have 6 positives. Plus 6 minus 6 equals 0 is one way to think of it. Now the last problem, this is the one I didn't get to in the video. Couple things here. If I got 54 protons, I know that my atomic number is also 54. If I look up 54 on the periodic table, it is Xe, it's xenon. Now, to get neutrons, 54 plus what equals 118? I actually have to pull up my calculator here real quick. So 118 minus 54. So that ends up being 64. So I have 64 neutrons. Now, the last thing, I need to figure out what the charge is. So I got 52 electrons, 54 protons. So do I have more protons or more electrons is my first question. And the answer is I have more protons. So I know my charge is going to be positive. Now positive what? How many more protons do I have? Well, 54 is 2 more than 52, so I must have a +2 charge. So let's finish the symbol over here. I know that my mass number is 118 because of this. I know that my charge is +2. So I would accept that answer, or I would accept, I would accept XE 118 +2. That would work too. Or if you really want to go a step further, you could even put 54 down here. That's optional though. So that's hopefully a little bit more clear than the end of the last video. I hope this helps. If you have questions, bring them to class.